Over the summer of 2021, we talked to lots of local people about their thoughts, hopes, dreams and fears for the South Devon AONB. What might the landscape look like in 60 years' time? What would you hope your future family could enjoy in the AONB over the next 60 years? What would you like to see remain the same, and what would you hope might change? We asked people from all walks of life and all ages these questions and made their replies into this film.
How do you actually know what's going to be happening in the next 60 years? Because our lives have changed totally.
Yeah. My children, my grandchildren, and they're all away now, but they all want to come back to the river. They all want to see where they used to go crabbing on the river and sailing on the river, and so it's part of their lives, and I think that's how it will be in generations to come.
I hope that humans have been more respectful to this habitat, to the wildness that we have on our coastline. You know, we can put plenty of concrete and plenty of houses up and things like this, but to try and create more nature, natural elements to our lifestyle. You know, lots of people don't really engage with wild spaces as much as they should.
I think there's going to be such dramatic changes within the next 60 years, and unless we adequately enforce the marine conservation zones and the highly protected areas, then we're not going to be able to maintain a stable, sustainable marine habitat, quite simply. If our connection with nature, which has been lost, isn't restored, then we're not going to be able to make ground in that area.
We just hope that it can all stay, and they, you know, youngsters like this can enjoy it as they get older.
And I really hope that Budo appreciates her environment as well, and I will educate her that when we're on the beach, you leave no footprints. You know, you pick up your plastics and your rubbish and you look for those hidden things like ear cleaners and things like that, because actually we don't want them in the ocean. You know, we are having a new maritime school opening up down Nos, so hopefully that will encourage young people to get involved in the what is on their doorstep, and also encourage lads and also girls to go into the fishing industry. I think there's a lot of stigma and stereotyping of what a fisherman is like.
That little bit of an insight into it, and if they go to college, you know, that could bring them on like that. So there is hope, but it's down to them really.
Yeah.
I sincerely hope that the fishing industry doesn't shrink much more than it has. I think the fishing gear will become more efficient. They should be catching the fish in fewer days at sea, so our fishermen hopefully will have more leisure time. They will be able to spend more time ashore with their families. Hopefully also they will have the kind of accommodation that they would like in the community.
Well, I would hope there is still farming going on. I mean, I'm a 4th generation farmer, my son will be a 5th generation farmer in our farm, and hopefully his children might be the 6th.
Yeah, I sort of hope we still have the family farms as well, not just big businesses, as we keep going.
In principle, they will still be managing that patchwork landscape and earning a living and producing food, because that's one of the most important things we do, is produce food. And rewilding a landscape will not produce food. And I just feel like we've got to maintain that element of food in our AONB. So I'd like to see that, over that 60 years, we can keep that excitement up, that actually we're doing something really good, and we need to keep that going.
In fact, things that are done going forwards from now in 60 years' time will be history. So all those bits that we do, that modernisation becomes the history of the future. So it's actually quite important that we can actually continue to adapt, and we don't try and fossilise at any particular point in time. Because once you're fossilised, it'll kill it.
Trying to get away from the tractor work, as they say, because it's not as good for the environment as letting the wildlife look after itself, isn't it?
But of course, farmers, they've got livings to make, they've got their own demands to see to, and balancing everything is no easy job.
I guess my desires for the AONB in the future would be that the landscape is still protected, but I very much see it as a working landscape, so I think that there's some big challenges there around the communities that work here being able to live here. In terms of the landscape itself, very much would love it to be something that people still get out and enjoy in loads of different ways, so whether that's walking, surfing, cycling, riding a horse, you know, whatever it is, that people are still out making the most of it, because it's absolutely fantastic and it's there to be appreciated by everyone, not just for a few people.
Well, I have 6, nearly 7 grandchildren. What they enjoy most of all is just being by the coast. When they're young, of course, they like to be on the beach, and when they get a bit older, they like to, you know, go out and swim and walk along the coast path, and may that long continue.
I think I just hope children continue going outside, because the trend is for children not to do that anymore, which is a pretty dreadful trend, I think, but I do hope they keep coming out, which I think in this part of the world they do more than in many places, don't you?
Yeah, I think it's also allowing the kids to injure themselves and get cuts and grazes, which rather than being pampered all the time.
I hope the children of the future will still like to go outdoors into nature.
I hope my grandchildren will like swimming and bike riding, stuff like that. I hope that like my children can like experience the walks around the wildlife and see the beaches in their like natural without being like changed or developed.
I also want like there to be like stop the plastic and like the pollution everywhere, so then we can have like a clean world.
I hope like there will be more green, more fields like and that. More trees. Yeah, more trees.
I mean, we're blessed really here. I think that children are able to engage with the environment, and if you get them involved at that very early age, that information and that experience of getting immersed and engaged in nature stays with them for the rest of their life and will get passed on from generation to generation.
It would be wonderful to see more orchards and definitely more biodiversity. That's where I would like to see the AONB go in the next 60 years.
Hopefully, like in Modbury we do like the apple orchards for picking day, don't we? Things like that. And hopefully those sort of activities will still go on.
Yeah, I hope our children and grandchildren have a good, strong community. They can still get out, use all the areas, make everything really accessible.
Got what they call forest school. So my son has just started this term, and Monday afternoons he's outside no matter what the weather is, and they're teaching them about nature and just teaching them to enjoy the outdoors.
I think it's really important for children to have nature connection at a very young age. It helps them to appreciate it helps them to appreciate what we have and looking after it. Look at you! To get their hands dirty, to understand how ecology works, the plants, the animals, and all the interactions between them, and not to be afraid to get their hands dirty or to play with wood chip.
I want to be able to live in a world where I feel okay with bringing family into it. I don't want it to be, oh, I'm constantly worried about what the world's going to be like for them. I want it to be, they're going to be okay. It's going to be all right, you know?
The lessons they learn about getting back in touch with nature, how to support nature, and that they don't need lots of toys and plastics and things like that. So certainly, I think I'd like to see this carrying on, obviously, but everyone's understanding of how they can look after our planet and how to be safe within our planet, and that taking risks is actually okay, and play is free and the environment's free, so to go out and enjoy it.